Alabama just made a huge step towards righting the ship after a rough season opener against Florida State. But as the great Nick Saban once said, this is not the end. This is the beginning. Let's talk about it.
Taking.
What is up, everybody? Clint Lamb with A2Z Sports and Cover Crimson. So on Saturday night, Alabama got its first victory of the 2025 college football season with a 73-0 victory over Louisiana Monroe. Obviously, this is a massive step forward relative to what we saw in week one against Florida State, but at the same time, you can't get complacent. This is a step in the right direction, but you are not at the final destination. In fact, far from it. You're going to have Wisconsin in week 3, then you got a bye week, then you got Georgia, then you got Vanderbilt who beat you last year. So in the weeks ahead, we're going to find out a lot more about this Alabama team. But based off of what we saw in week 1 against Florida State, whether it be the energy level, the effort, the guys playing assignment sound football, a lot went wrong in week 1 that went right in week 2. And really that's all you can really ask for. You can only take away so much from these types of games. I understand that Louisiana Monroe beat Nick Saban in Nick Saban's first season as Alabama's head coach, but this is a program that is still trying to figure some things out, had some struggles offensively, defensively. So you can't really say, oh, Alabama has righted the ship moving forward. But at the same time, it is a step in the right direction, and there was a lot of encouraging performances from a lot of different players. You know, we'll start with the quarterbacks. Ty Simpson goes 17 of 17 for 226 yards and 3 touchdowns. Very efficient, very effective, whether it be inside the pocket, outside the pocket. Made some plays with his legs. Some of that was called back due to penalty, but he made things happen. I thought he was a much more effective thrower of the football on the move. I thought he executed the offense at a much higher level than he did in week 1 against Florida State, and you have to be encouraged about this performance. There was a swagger there, a confidence there. And I think he averaged 13.3 yards per attempt. That's really impressive. So love what he was able to do, but it really goes beyond just Ty Simpson as far as the quarterback position. You've got Austin Mack, who made a surprise appearance in the second quarter. Yes, Alabama had a commanding lead by that point, but this coaching staff wants to take every opportunity to figure out or at least help alleviate some of the experience concerns in that quarterback room. And, you know, with Austin Mack, he got an experience tonight that Ty Simpson wasn't really afforded last year. He wasn't afforded it the year before when he was the primary backup. And that was an opportunity to come into the game. Technically, the game is still in doubt, but he got to operate the offense as he normally would with the first team, see what it was like, get valuable game experience. And then he starts the second half and he gets more experience before eventually heading back to the bench and allowing Keelan Russell to come in. And I think between Russell and Mack, both showed tremendous upside as far as being able to make plays. I thought Austin Mack looked confident and comfortable. Keelan Russell, same thing. I think Austin Mack went 8 of 10 for 80 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then Keelan Russell went 4 of 6 for, I want to say, 65 yards and 2 touchdowns. So 7 passing touchdowns just from the quarterbacks. And very effective, efficient play. Not a lot of footballs hit the ground. You have to feel encouraged about that. But then also it really goes beyond the quarterbacks too, because I really like what Kevin Riley provides in the backfield. I really like what Lazier Brooks was able to provide in the slot with Ryan Williams injured. Brooks was able to get the start. That was a little bit of a surprise. We thought it would be Rico Scott, maybe shuffling some guys around, whether it be Jeremy Bernard going to the slot or Rico Scott starting in the slot. Either way, we thought it would be those two guys with Isaiah Horton. Instead, it was Lazier Brooks, and we very quickly started to understand why. First of all, this guy has tremendous upside as a slot receiver, but he can be an inside-out option, good blocker, has some Jalen Waddle-like traits where he plays bigger than his size would indicate. He's good after the catch. He can, climb the ladder a little bit, maybe go and get some footballs. Really fun, really exciting player. Showed a lot of those abilities or put those abilities on tape tonight against Louisiana Monroe. And then, you keep going, like I said, with Kevin Riley at the running back position. That's another guy who adds an explosive element when he's on the field. I like Richard Young. I like Daniel Hill. I think Dre Washington's fine. And we saw some really encouraging things out of A.K. Deere as well. But with Kevin Riley in particular, this guy brings an explosive element to Alabama's offense that they really don't have with any of the other running backs. And just with the way that this offense is winning right now, I think that a guy like Kevin Riley, his ability, because I don't think the offensive line is just world beaters right now. They're not, I thought they performed better, which you would expect against Louisiana Monroe, but I still think there's some inconsistencies as far as the run blocking and getting guys moved off the football, getting guys blocked. And so a guy like Kevin Riley who brings that explosiveness, and with his narrow frame or his lean frame, he can fit in those narrow creases a little bit easier. High stepper, can avoid, all the mess that's going on around the ankles or the feet, and he can hit the hole extremely hard and actually do something with very limited spacing or room to operate. You saw that on display, but not only that, he also has the ability to be an impact player out of the backfield. 6 catches tonight. Think that was absolutely a reflection of what he can provide in the passing game as a volume pass catcher. Really excited about what he could potentially bring there. And then, you start moving on down the list, and there's just, whether you're talking about James Smith along the defensive front, very disruptive, very Michigan in the bowl game-esque performance from him, very dominant, 4 tackles, 3 tackles for loss. I thought Justin Jefferson was flying around, making a lot of plays after playing very timid last week against Florida State. Just a lot of different players, very encouraging. I'm excited to see how Alabama continues to grow and evolve. But the play calling was on point, great rhythm, guys were executing, and they put a lot on tape. And some people might actually be concerned about everything that they put on tape because they feel like they're emptying the clip before you play a Georgia in a few weeks or even maybe a Wisconsin next week. Well, I'm here to tell you, sometimes as a coach, you do that to force the defense, the upcoming opposing defenses, to see that on tape, prepare for it, and then you might have variations of that stuff that they are expecting one thing and you throw something completely different at them. So, sometimes there's some cat and mouse being played before the game even starts. Not saying that's the case here. I'm saying that's a possibility, but I really like how everybody was in a groove. The intensity was there across the board. You had depth players coming in at the end of the game. Drake Kirkpatrick Jr. was flying around, laying licks. I understand he got the targeting. That's unfortunate. But, you love the way that he's playing. You love the way that a lot of these guys are playing. So definitely encouraging. Want to see how they continue to evolve. You can't get complacent once again, but they are clearly moving in the right direction, which is a lot better than we can say a week ago.